For this video, I want to share with you the story of how I found this strange book and how this book can be incredibly relevant for my D&D campaign. Ta-da! Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming in Lund, Sweden. What a strange book! Now this morning I was walking my son to his school and I looked off in the bushes in the distance and I saw this lying there. Apparently it had been sitting there all night long and it was completely soaked. Now when I brought it over to my son, I was immediately struck with how strange this book is. It looks like it's written in Italian, which is strange that there is an Italian book here in Sweden, off in the bushes in Sweden. But what's even stranger than that is that from the title, it appears that it is an atlas of remote islands. Now, I never imagined that anyone would produce a book like that, but there you have it, folks, an atlas of remote islands. When you open this thing up in the first page here, you see different pictures of these small, tiny islands that are spread out throughout all of the oceans of the world. There's some text here in Italian that I don't understand, so I skipped over that. But what is interesting here in the next section is you have the various oceans that are broken down and you have the islands that belong in each of these oceans, these remote islands. And you have pictures here on the right side. On the left side you have some descriptive text and you have the name up here, the size of the island. In this case we are talking about, what is that, 20 kilometers squared. And then you have distances to other landmarks or land masses. So this is utterly fascinating to me. You have these topographical maps. They have names of cities as well, different ports and bays, tons of little notations and things like that. Just utterly fascinating. Now we're moving over here to the Atlantic Ocean and some of the islands in the Atlantic Ocean. Trinidad, that's a bit more famous island. I recognize that one. But most of these I have never heard of before. And it's not strange that I've never heard of them before because some of them are really tiny. So let's take this one, for example. I don't even know how to say this. Puka Puka. There you go, Puka Puka. And this island is 3 kilometers squared. So there's an obscure remote island out in the Pacific Ocean that's 3 kilometers squared, and that has gotten an entry in this book. And here is your picture of those 3 square kilometers with the bays and the names and this sort of topographical things. Looks like wave breaks or more shallow ground here. Utterly fascinating. I was immediately taken aback by how cool this book was. Now in itself, this book is really cool and really strange, but as a dungeon master, I find it even cooler. And the reason for it is this. Soon enough, I'm going to be sending out my players out to sea. They're going to have to do a little bit of exploring. They're probably going to be traveling over to the main continent of Terravin, and they're going to be doing some sailing. Now, what a great resource this book can be if you are a dungeon master, because within this book now, you have got island after island after island after obscure island that you can use to throw in the way of your sailors or to use as islands if they maybe get shipwrecked and run aground somewhere. You've got great pictures, great descriptions. You've got topography here. Basically, you've got a mini map here and a mini campaign ready to go that you can just open the page and have your players land at this island, and then you can get busy. Now, I mean, to make it a little more interesting, you can change the names, but you could just have a list of go-to names that you could apply at any point. But I mean, you could also use the names in the maps themselves if you want. I mean, they're not that well known. These are in Spanish, but you could also change them. It looks to other kinds of names as well. But what a great resource if you are a dungeon master. You've got all these great maps. Atlases in general are great if you're a dungeon master, but now I have got my go-to resource for islands that the players may eventually run into on their travels across the ocean. Well, there you have it, folks. A quick run through of this incredibly strange book that I found in a rather random way this morning, and a book that I think is going to prove extremely useful for me as a dungeon master as my players head out to sea. Well, thank you for joining us here today at Grey Army Gaming for the future of fantasy.